6 o'clock news starts right now.
A chase, a standoff, and a shooting, all happening just a couple of hours ago. The situation involving one man and several law enforcement agencies.
Yeah, our Sky 12 was over the scene as officers shot that man who did survive. We're going to show you that video, but we do want to warn you, the video may be disturbing to some viewers.
And let's head over to our Jonathan Cotto, who's been following this story all afternoon. So, Jonathan, where is that suspect now?
David, at last checked, he is in the hospital, but back here at the scene, police are still processing evidence, and that's been tying up traffic for a lot of these folks who are just trying to get home. They've been trying to get home for at least the past several hours. Now, this is where police officers opened fire on that suspect just down the street here on South Cross Ranch Road. Now, we are going to show you that video, but again, some viewers may find it disturbing. The suspect is seen inside the silver vehicle surrounded by unmarked squad cars. He eventually climbed out of the car and surrendered to officers. Now, police say the suspect was talking when he was taken to the hospital. San Antonio Police Chief William McManus says this all started when officers attempted to stop a man with an active felony warrant for domestic violence. The chief says the suspect, a man believed to be in his 40s, took off, but law enforcement tracked him down here near South Cross Ranch Road, just east of Loop 410. They say he had a handgun and at some point holding that gun to his head and pointed it at officers, which prompted police to open fire. A female passenger was also in the vehicle, but police say she was able to get out later. Now, this is all still very preliminary. SAPD still has to review body cam footage to learn more details. Of course, this is a story that we're going to continue to follow and update you as more information is made available. Reporting live from the city's southeast side, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Jonathan, thank you. We will keep up to date with that. 3 years ago, the jobs outlook was dim as unemployment rose to record levels. But things appear to be turning around. Erica Hernandez breaks down the latest San Antonio numbers and experts' predictions for the rest of 2023.
So definitely we've seen the labor force grow by about 70,000 people. But we also are still at, very close to historic lows of about 3.9%.
Some positive news from the latest jobs report. Unemployment ticked up slightly from 3.2% in December to 3.9% in January. Workforce Solutions Alamo CEO Adrian Lopez says this is common after the holiday season and still better compared to the peak of the pandemic.
We certainly are ways away from that 13% unemployment that we experienced.
Lopez says all employment sectors are seeing positive growth. That includes construction, which was affected by the increase in interest rates.
Year over year, it looks like, for example, utilizing the same January of 2022 to January of 2023, even that sector added about 3,900, almost 4,000 new jobs in this region.
All this good news as future projections look to remain about the same or better.
Depending on what happens with inflation and maybe some things that are going on with the banking industry right now, we do see that, we're going to continue to add jobs, short of any kind of major catastrophic thing that could happen in the next few months.
For those still looking for a job, there's a Brooks Job Fair taking place next Wednesday. This is a multi-industry job fair with about 50 employers from industries like healthcare and technology. We'll have more on our website, KSAT.com, about this job fair. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
And coming up in our second half hour, we'll go over the employment rate nationwide, seeing why it is at a record low and if that will have a positive impact on our economy. Again, that's at 6:30.
The Justice Department and the Securities and Exchange Commission, each in the early stages of investigations into the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. They're looking into the failures of Silicon Valley and Signature Bank. This over the weekend as companies and people who have deposits in those banks no longer locked out of their accounts. President Joe Biden underscoring U.S. banks, not taxpayers, are covering those losses. SVB's list of customers stretched out to San Antonio's tech scene as well. Garrett Berger talked with two of the companies about how the collapse came close to affecting them.
Last Tuesday, Plus One Robotics celebrated a $50 million fundraising effort, money that had been deposited with Silicon Valley Bank. But within days, that bank had collapsed.
Plus One CEO says most of the company's funds through SVB weren't at risk because of the type of account it was in. But the bank's collapse did mean it couldn't access its money at first, which would have meant finding another way to make payroll this week. Fortunately for them, that wasn't necessary.
We were gratified that that decision was made Sunday night, and true to their word, when we came in on Monday morning, the website for SVB was back online. Our funds were there just as they said they would be, and we've been able to transfer out dollars and meet all of our obligations.
Another tech company, Secure Logic, says it was in a similar situation of possibly needing a workaround to pay employees, though its CEO said he had figured the government would end up covering accounts like theirs.
Plus One says it plans to diversify its banking more, so if something similar happens in the future, it has more flexibility. I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Well, a woman who died in a fire inside her own home has now been identified more than a week later as 75-year-old Joyce Talkington. That's according to the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office. The fire broke out just before 2 a.m. at the home on Mansfield Street, not far from Petrenko and Highway 151. When firefighters got there, they found heavy smoke coming from the back of the house. When they tried to get inside, they found it packed with belongings, which made it difficult to get the fire out. Once it was out, that's when Talkington's body was discovered. The cause of death is still being determined.
You can get a piece of $98 million set aside for people here in Texas. What's the money for? Rent relief. Applications for the program are now open according to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. It will remain open until March 28th. For those applying for the first time, you could get up to 18 months of rent and utility help with either past, current, or future bills. For details on how you can sign up online or by phone, head over to our website, KSAT.com.
Taking a look outside with live cam, it is 66 degrees. I think this weather is great. I know spring breakers may be in for cold weather in the future, but today was really nice.
Yeah, today was nice. You can see those clouds have moved in, and I would say take advantage of the weather tomorrow because Thursday things are going to change for us, and by Friday it'll be cold. Now, as we take a look at the almanac today, we got up to 70. That's 3 degrees below the average. These clouds moved in, and so for the rest of the night tonight, it's going to hang out in the 60s, so bring a light jacket with you. Pollen count's a bit of a doozy today. Not only is oak high, but we've also got pine and hackberry out there in moderate amounts. Molds and mulberry are low, so the oak causing a bit of a problem for those trying to enjoy spring break. It will be nice tomorrow, as I mentioned, but then we will have a chance for storms Thursday, especially at night. And then behind a front, we're going to have a 40-degree temperature drop that'll last for several days. I've got details ahead in just a few minutes. David.
Thank you, Sarah. 7 people are facing charges in connection with what the IRS is describing as a sophisticated tax refund fraud scheme. According to the IRS, these 7 scammed more than $100 million from stolen identities of accountants and taxpayers. According to the IRS, they filed at least 371 false tax returns between 2018 and 2021. Of the 7 people charged, 2 are from San Antonio. Here's how their scheme worked. Allegedly, the group used stolen information to change the addresses of the stolen identities to collect the tax return money. They would then put the money on prepaid debit cards and use money orders from grocery stores at low amounts to pay for items. The IRS says they paid for things like house renovations. They bought designer clothes, used cars at auctions. They all face several charges of fraud with up to 50 years of prison time. $660,000 worth of drugs did not make it to their destination, but inside in the hands of the Border Patrol after it was discovered at the Laredo port of entry. You are looking at what was found: 30 pounds of cocaine, 2.8 pounds of meth, and 10 pounds of fentanyl. The cocaine and meth are found in a vehicle after a secondary inspection was done. The following day, same situation, but fentanyl was the drug. Both drivers in each case were arrested and are facing possession charges.
Well, a search for a teen from Dallas comes to an end, but that's just where the story starts. The teen was found more than 1,000 miles away from her home. Officials there say she met her alleged captor online. Now law enforcement is issuing a warning about human trafficking cases nationwide.
This morning, a missing 13-year-old is home safe with her family, rescued near Charlotte, North Carolina, more than 1,000 miles away from her home in Texas.
It was hard
heartbroken, very scared for her life.
The teen's mom says her daughter met the alleged abductor, 34-year-old Jorge Camacho, playing video games online, and they communicated on an app for months.
Content of the chat was consistent with grooming and enticement, and he enticed her to actually leave the home where he picked her up.
Investigators believe he picked up the teen to traffic her for sex.
Kids come missing and they're being sold. And we knew that she had left with this person that we never met from the internet. We fear the worst.
The FBI Violent Crime Task Force in Texas coordinated with the sheriff in Davidson County, North Carolina, quickly zeroing in on where they believed she was, finding the teen locked in this green shed. The video shows the conditions inside. The property owner saying she had no idea someone was in her shed.
I never see her inside my house, on the camera. I didn't know she was even here.
The case, another example of the rising problem of human trafficking. Of the more than 365,000 children who were missing in 2020, it's estimated 30% were actively trafficked. Last month, 8 girls, including a runaway from Arizona, were rescued in a human trafficking bust in California. Parents urged to be attentive to their kids' online activity.
That's how these things happen, is not being supervised, and these kids are very sharp.
Yeah, Camacho was charged with several felonies, including child abduction, human trafficking, and statutory rape. He's being held on a $1.2 million bond.
A 14-year-old teen who Dallas police say stole a horse is now dead after getting into a crash while riding on that same horse. 2 other teens involved also injured. The crash happened this morning when police say a car hit the 3 teens while they were riding on those stolen horses. All 3 were taken to the hospital where the 14-year-old later died. The other teens are ages 16 and 17. As for the horses, 1 dead, another euthanized at the scene. A 3rd horse was injured but is expected to survive.
Well, a Houston woman got a great deal on a house at an auction, but when she showed up to move in, the house was demolished. How she discovered the city of Houston was to blame.
And we just saw the biggest night in film in Hollywood, and now just days after that, the same, but this time in Austin. Our crew at South by Southwest gives us the highlights from the film side of the conference.
And taking a look outside with TransGuide, you're looking at 281 and Loop 410. Even though it's spring break, there is slow-moving traffic on the main lanes and in the oncoming ramp. So heads up if you're heading out there. We will be right back.
Coming up tonight on the Night Beat, an update to a story we brought you last week. A disabled veteran left stranded in the middle of the night with a lot of questions after his car was towed from a handicap space. What he had to go through just to get his car back, and who's helping him to make sure he's not left in the dark again. That and more on the Night Beat.
All right, the stars are shining bright for the South by Southwest Film Festival.
Our crew, RJ Marquez and Andrew Wilson, got a glimpse into Hollywood after being on the red carpet for one of this year's big world premieres, a movie called Problemista.
Not a bad work day, is it? They also got a chance to speak with a local writer and director who's debuting his short film this year. Let's check in with our crew on the ground in downtown Austin.
This is the 37th edition of the Film and TV Festival right here at South by Southwest in downtown Austin. And it's just a mix of tech, film, and music industries all combining for these huge events throughout the rest of this week. And right behind me is the Paramount and Stateside Theaters. This is where all the Red Gala premieres are taking place, all the big sort of world premieres that are happening this week in downtown Austin. And also just another place where filmmakers, movie lovers, and fans can unite.
I love this festival. I remember it so clearly, and I've been looking for an opportunity to come back because of the audience. The audience is so, like, this is your festival. And that's a good festival when it's owned by the audience.
Why did you guys decide to have the world premiere for this film here at South by Southwest?
Well, it just feels like such a fun, warm, like unpretentious, like very inviting environment.
And it's not just the big world premieres that are taking place here at South by Southwest. There are also documentaries and short films being premiered as well, and that includes a San Antonio filmmaker who wrote and directed a short film that he's going to be world premiering here later on this week. His name is Fidel Ruiz Hilly, and his movie is called Dead Enders. Let's find out what he had to say about his project.
Our little horror comedy short film we shot in San Antonio like towards the end of 2021 about a young disillusioned girl who works a late night shift at a gas station. She has no real hopes and dreams in life. And after these mind controlling bugs take over the world, she kind of has to get her priorities back in order. It got into like one of our dream festivals, South by Southwest, which we're just really excited for. The South by Southwest Film and TV Festival runs through March 19th. And of course, if you want more information on all things South by Southwest, head over to KSAT.com. We also got an inside look at the Creative Industries Expo. That was a lot of fun. Also, check out our KSAT YouTube page for our latest live streams. Reporting from downtown Austin, RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
Thanks, RJ. It's always fun to see our locals doing cool things, especially a big stage at South by Southwest. All right, you're looking at Sky 12 over Las Palmas Branch Library. We wanted to let you know next Monday starts its temporary closure, but don't worry, it's all good news. It's for a $4.8 million renovation. For more information, just head to KSAT.com.
Although you might want to be inside the library.
Yeah.
Out of the cold.
Other libraries are open.
Yeah, this weekend it could get a little chilly.
Yeah. We are getting ready for that cold weather. You know, tomorrow and Thursday it's actually going to be warmer, so you won't really feel the cold until Friday. But we've already seen a little bit of a change with some clouds moving in this evening. Take a look outside at the weather setup right now. As we zoom out across the state of Texas, just some showers out near Waco and into East Texas. If you're planning on traveling over the next day or so, there may be some travel delays from not only this nor'easter that's across areas of New England right now, but there's also an atmospheric river, which is just a fancy word for saying there's a lot of moisture above you out in California. And you can see all of the rainfall across California. This same system is going to influence our weather in the form of a cold front that will arrive on Thursday night. But first, let me take you through tomorrow. Again, it's going to be a pretty nice day. This is a snapshot at the Futurecast early tomorrow at 10 o'clock. There could be a stray sprinkle or two. There's been some sprinkles out there today as well, but coverage is only going to be about 10%. 3 p.m. tomorrow, we'll have mostly cloudy skies. And all in all, it's going to be a nice day tomorrow in spite of a little bit more cloud cover. We'll wake up in the 50s, so a light jacket is needed in the morning. Then by noon, we'll be at 62. Again, mostly cloudy, a stray shower possible. And then in the afternoon, 72 for the high temperature. It is going to be a pretty nice day. Then things start to change for us on Thursday. This is a snapshot at the Futurecast at 5 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. A chance for a few showers early in the morning. So if you do have to go to work on Thursday, know that in the early morning hours, there are going to be some windshield wipers going, as again, just a few showers are possible. Then we'll actually see some clearing in the afternoon. It's going to be a mostly sunny and warm afternoon in San Antonio, near 80 degrees. But at that time, at 5 p.m. on Thursday, a very strong cold front is going to be working its way through Texas. This could bring some severe weather up near the Dallas area. That front will make it to San Antonio late in the night while many of us are sleeping. Thursday night into Friday. This is a look at Thursday night at midnight. You can see that a quick moving line of thunderstorms is going to be pushing through San Antonio after midnight and into the overnight hours. It's during that time that quick moving line could bring some scattered severe thunderstorm warnings. The main risk would be gusty winds up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. It's going to be a squall line. It's going to be moving very fast. And you can see though that the severe threat does extend all the way up toward Dallas-Fort Worth. We'll continue to keep you posted about that. But it's behind that front that we see the big temperature drop. Take a look at temperatures. We'll be near 80 on Thursday, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in the 40s and 50s. That's an extended period of time where temperatures will be much colder than the average of 74. And one of the reasons for that is we get another shot of cold air arriving on Saturday. And so Sunday and Monday, we also have a chance for some rain. This is a look at Sunday, and yes, you can see that there could be a few snowflakes in the mix of the rain up in the hill country, but it's expected to be all rain here in San Antonio. Temperatures will be cold, but above freezing. So other than a wow factor up in the hill country, there will be no impacts from ice. Keep that in mind. None. You won't even need to cover your plants because, again, we're going to be above freezing. But that rain will continue to be possible on Monday. So plan for Thursday night, a quick line of storms. Plan for Friday through Monday, a very cold day. Windy on Friday. In fact, I'll have a look at wind chills in the next 30 minutes here on Friday morning. And then plan for a damp Sunday and Monday. What we're watching for is a severe storm Thursday night as that line moves through, and a few hill country flakes on Sunday and Monday. Again, no impacts from ice. nice. Other than that, that is a jam-packed forecast. If you'd like to look at a summary of the forecast, I just posted one on the KSAT Weather Authority app as well. I'll be back with a look at those wind chills on Friday morning in the next 30 minutes.
All right, you're going to be busy this week. Thanks, Sarah.
The Cowboys seem to be pretty active in getting free agency off on the right foot.
Absolutely, and I think DC Dan Quinn's going to be very happy with all the moves the Cowboys made today, including this one. They are keeping safety Donovan Wilson, and in women's college basketball, Coach Schaefer's not happy with the Horns' game time. Coming up.
No, honestly, I don't like doing that. You know, it's not a fun thing for me. I just think sometimes it's necessary, and it just kind of happens, man. Yeah, I definitely don't seek it out.
He may not like to fight, but Zach Collins won't back down from one in big board sports. The Dallas Cowboys are bringing back safety Donovan Wilson, their leading tackler from last season. Wilson agreed to a 3-year deal worth $24 million, with the first 2 years fully guaranteed per reports. Wilson had 108 tackles, 5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, a fumble recovery, 2 forced fumbles, an interception, and 2 pass breakups, recording a stat in every defensive category available last season. On the flip side, the Cowboys lost free agent offensive lineman Connor McGovern to the Bills and linebacker Luke Gifford to the Lions. And Dallas late this afternoon traded for cornerback Stephen Gilmore. We'll have those details for you on the night beat. And Cowboys free agent wide receiver Noah Brown, well, he agreed to a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans. He's coming off his best NFL season with 43 catches for 55 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's 27 years old, and he was drafted in the 7th round by the Cowboys in 2017. The Texans also made a trade with Buccaneers for veteran guard Shaq Mason. The deal will include the team's flipping late-round draft picks. The shorthanded Spurs will host the Orlando Magic tonight at the AT&T Center, the first of back-to-back games for San Antonio. Romeo Langford, Trey Jones, and Malachi Branham are all out. Keldon and Jeremy are questionable. One of the Spurs' hottest players right now is center Zach Collins. He was moved up to the starting lineup after the Spurs traded Jakob Poeltl, and Collins has handled business on both ends of the court. This month, he's averaging 16.3 points, 9 rebounds, and 3.8 assists, and he's shooting 50% from the three-point range. The starting role, well, it suits him well.
For sure, man. I'm so happy for him. You know, all the injuries he's been through the last few years, to finally get this opportunity where he's playing big minutes. He's shooting the crap out of it right now from 3, pick and pop threat, and he's got grunt. You know, like our coaches say, he's not afraid of anybody. You know, he'll stick up for his teammates, and he's done a great job all year long, to be honest.
Grunt is important. Tip is tonight at 7 at the AT&T Center. Highlights for you on the night beat. The NCAA women's basketball tournament will begin tomorrow night with first 4 action. The Texas Longhorns are idle until Saturday night at 9 when the 4th seed Horns will face number 13 seed East Carolina in the first round at the Moody Center in Austin. The new venue will serve as a regional host site for the first and second round games. That's pretty cool, right? But the 9 p.m. start does not sit well with Coach Schaefer.
I'm disappointed. I mean, I'd be lying if I'm not. I mean, I don't know how that helps grow our game. Playing at 9 o'clock in the Central Time Zone. I'm disappointed, but you know, I have zero control over that. I'll have to ask. You know, we have a lot of fans that have young families. We have a lot of fans that are older fans, and so we'll have to have naps for kids and naps for the older folks on Saturday to make the Saturday night tip.
Should the Longhorns win Saturday night, they would face either number 5 seed Louisville or number 12 seed Drake in the round of 32. And you know what? I'm all about naps. Let's take a nap. Come on.
Get you good, like here in a few minutes.
Right, in between shows?
In 30 minutes.
Zach Collins, for old-time Spur fans, way back in the 80s, he reminds me of one of the Bruise brothers.
Okay.
Don't take no guff off nobody. Can always stick it up for his fans. Love that.
No guff.
No guff. Thanks,
Good
Larry.
choice of words. All right, the U.S. Federal Reserve has been forced to raise interest rates as a result of inflation, but could low employment rates be the solution to bring that to an end? Hear what experts are saying.
And the city of Houston is to blame for a woman's recently bought home being demolished. How city officials are defending their actions.
A near record low unemployment rate, a strong jobs market, and consumer spending. Off the top, these sound like great things, right?
So why does it make economists and Federal Reserve nervous, causing them to raise interest rates to slow down the economy?
Well, Gloria Pazmino speaks with an expert for that answer.
As the U.S. unemployment level has hovered around record lows, ticking up to 3.6% for February, it's been causing inflation to skyrocket.
The tighter the job market, the stronger the pressure on employers to boost wages and lift their own production costs.
And causing the U.S. Federal Reserve to raise interest rates to try and tamp it down. Gary Burtless, a senior fellow in economic studies at the Brookings Institution, says over the past few months, there has only been around one unemployed worker for every 2 jobs available, intensifying inflation more rapidly than we are used to.
That is why the good news about unemployment and new increases in the number of people who are employed will result in pressure on the Fed to slow down the economy and reduce price pressures, wage pressures that tend to be contributing to inflation in the economy.
So when will the Fed be happy and take their foot off the brake? Burtless says the sweet spot is around 5% unemployment and 2% inflation. In New York, I'm Gloria Pazmino.
The Environmental Protection Agency is proposing new regulations to make drinking water safer. The EPA announcing that under the proposed regulations, water systems would have to monitor for 6 specific forever chemicals. Those are synthetic chemicals that linger in the environment and the human body and can cause serious health problems. The water systems would also have to notify the public about the levels of PFAS in the water and work to reduce them if they go above the standard allowed. This would be one of the first new chemical standards that updates the Safe Drinking Water Act since 1996.
The Consumer Price Index report, a key marker for inflation, dropped this morning and suggested some good news. Inflation remains elevated but continues to slow, and February was the 8th straight month inflation fell. The CPI is the government's gauge to measure changes in the price of day-to-day items used by consumers, goods and services. The latest CPI measured 6% for the year ending in February. That's down from 6.4% for the previous month.
So imagine you save your money for 6 years, you're ready to buy a home at an auction for $57,000, only for it to be demolished once you are ready to move in it. That's what happened to one buyer in Houston. She bought the home last month at the monthly Harris County tax sale auction. She paid in cash, full, and started prepping for renovations as she waited for the deed. It showed up Saturday, so on Sunday, 4.5 weeks after she bought the place, she came to check on her house, and it was gone. City contractors tore it down just a few days prior. The new homeowner left in the dark.
No one informed me, no one cared about me, as if I don't feel like I'm living in Houston. I'm in third world country where there is no law and order.
In a statement from the city of Houston, they say the Building and Standard Commission ordered the home to be demolished April of last year. She was not notified because she was not the listed homeowner yet. And the question of how she was still able to buy the home after the demolished order, some city of Houston is still trying to figure that out.
Well, this spring break, you can step back 200 million years in time and explore Antarctica when it was warm and ruled by dinosaurs. Tiffany Huertas takes us to the Whitty Museum's latest traveling exhibit, where visitors can see full-size replicas of dinosaurs and some original fossils.
We all have this idea of Antarctica today, right? This frozen world. And then here you're going to come and see this lost world, this world frozen in time, where it had trees, and there were pterosaurs, there were dinosaurs, there were small mammals. It was heavily vegetated.
At the Whitty Museum's latest exhibit, Antarctic Dinosaurs, a forest frozen in time, you can explore Antarctica's past.
We have Antarctic Dinosaurs. It comes to us from the Field Museum. It's actually put on by several institutions that actually conducted an expedition to Antarctica to look for fossils and collect fossils.
Thomas Adams, Chief Curator and Vice President of Research, showed us around this educational exhibit. including the tough working conditions scientists dealt with in Antarctica.
And this area here is, sort of a recreation of if you're in Antarctica and you discover fossils, how do you get them out of the rock? So we have examples of some of the tools they use.
This exhibit is interactive. You can become a scientist in this laboratory and even touch a real block from Antarctica. Right here, this one weighs 140 pounds and has dinosaur fossils.
The traveling exhibit is open until September 10th, and a special exhibition ticket is required. Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
We are not the only ones expecting some cold. Yeah. A lot of places are expecting some changes in the forecast. We've got the details coming up.
And vinyl collectors might be on the path to making history, how their love of music snowballed into a huge feat.